Hi, this is Dana Barron. I play Audrey Griswold on National Lampoon's Vacation and a whole bunch of other things throughout the many years. And we are listening to the RockStop with Chris Contra.
All right, welcome into the RockStop. Chris Contra here, and I got a great show for you guys tonight. My guest has starred in one of the greatest road trip comedies of all time. She played Audrey Griswold, the original Audrey Griswold.
This is the original Audrey number one.
Audrey number one. This is Dana Barron. How's it going, Dana?
It's going well, thank you.
So it's great to have you here, and so when you auditioned for that part, I mean, do you know, to your knowledge, were there a lot of other girls that went out for the Audrey role?
Yes, actually. They first looked in California, and then Harold Ramis decided to go to New York because back in the old days, a lot of auditions happened in New York. I think there's less. I think it's mainly California now. But anyway, so Harold went to New York, and Michael was already we call him Michael. It's Anthony Michael Hall because, long story short, when he was a young boy, there was already an Anthony Michael Hall in the Union, so he had to switch his middle name and first name, so we call it. His name is actually Mike.
Oh,
so
interesting.
There's a little tidbit there too.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Mike had already been. I know, not a lot of people do. I think there might still be an Anthony Michael Hall in SAG in our union. I think, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so Mike was cast, and I went in, and the scene. It's kind of a funny story. The scene that I had to do was an argument. Arguing in the back seat with Mike, Rusty, playing my brother, is the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an older sister, and we bickered all the time, being young kids. And so I had it down. So it was easy, and it was so much fun. And Harold's like, perfect! And, so luckily I got cast in New York. I didn't fly out to California, and it worked with Michael, and we've been friends ever since, literally. My young son calls him Uncle Mike. That's how close we are. It's cute.
Wow, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, how long after you did the audition did it take to you realize that you actually got the part?
That's a great question. So it was almost 40 years ago. I don't remember. But
I'll just say after you did the audition, did you feel confident that, you kind of nailed it?
No, you never do. And you never know who's, nepotism gets the part. Or I once lost a part, and I won't mention the actress's name. I had the role, I thought. But then she came into the audition with her blind father, who was a musician. They were like, oh, look at this, and they hired her, and it was supposed to be me. So to this day, it's so interesting, though. You just never know.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is that we did shoot in the summer, so obviously I auditioned before the summer. And what's wonderful about this film is that we all took a vacation, filming Vacation. Literally, we're all on vacation.
Yeah.
Some people brought their significant others. At the time, I was a minor, so I had my mom. Michael had his aunt. And people brought their wives. And Chevy's wife was pregnant for the first time. So he was going through a huge shift. And so everyone's in this very intimate feeling time while we were there, so it was very special.
So you were how old at that time while you were filming that movie?
I will tell you because IMDb has my age. Well, I started it. It was just interesting. I thought I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then we came back. We shot. I just turned 16. So we shot the first part of the film, and then we came back and reshot in the winter part. So another little tidbit is that Michael started off about my height, and then he had a growth spurt over the winter. So when he comes back to film the new ending, there's two different endings. The first ending didn't work, so we reshot the ending. So he is. If you watch the film really closely, you'll see him go from being, Bev in my height to towering over Beverly. So within a very short period of time, August, September, October, November, just like 4 months, he grew.
Wow.
Many, many inches. And to this day, he's tall. He's like 6'4".
Yeah.
So he's a big guy. He's like Chevy. He's very, very tall.
So it's interesting. Like so he was supposed to be the younger brother, and then did they switch it and make him the older brother? Yeah.
Good. I didn't know many people knew that.
Yeah.
It was never really established, but yes, originally I was supposed to be the older sister, but it very clearly switched for him being the older brother. And there's a couple scenes that got cut that really exemplify that relationship. But no one would know, and I'm not going to go into it. But it gets a little bit out there. It gets a little overboard what happens. But anyway, let's put it that way.
In some of the deleted scenes, huh?
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So this was this was obviously very early in your career. What you started out doing, like commercials, things like that.
Well, it was early or not. I mean, to be honest, I started at 10, so it was already 6 years of being professional. And I started off doing, my first jobs were commercials in New York. Wonderful. I love doing commercials and voiceovers. But I had done a film, as you might have read, Tom Hanks' first film, which was a horror movie of the 70s called He Knows You're Alone.
Yes,
and it's a classic now, and certain fans are very excited about that movie. But then after that, I did a Broadway show starring Elizabeth Ashley and Christine Baranski, who's a big star now. I think she's probably really well known for a lot of things with Big Bang. I guess it pushed her career into a different level. Right. So anyways, I did that. So by the time Vacation came around, there was a trust that I had been professional enough to be able to handle being on the road and doing a bigger film.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, when you was it kind of you as a kid wanting to get into show business, or did your parents kind of want you in there?
I'm actually fifth generation in my family to be in the business. My father started the first acting school called Weiss Barron School of Television ever in the world for commercials and soap operas. His mom, I'm come from Ziegfeld Foley's grandmother, and who's the first person to work with Thomas Edison for talkies. For sound. So it's in my family. And my sister, as I just mentioned to her earlier, she's the blonde, green-eyed beauty of the family. And so she obviously was immediately, I'm doing commercials and all this stuff. So I would go and see her do auditions, and I went, I can do this. And I said, can I try too, Dad? A little kid. And he says, okay. Because I was the girl next door kind of look. Yeah. And so basically, I started auditioning and then started booking right away, which was very lucky for me. Absolutely,
yeah. So you mentioned like you're doing Broadway and stuff in front of like a live crowd. Yeah. How was that experience? I mean, were you nervous as in performing with that instant reaction from the crowd?
Good question. No one's ever asked me that before. Going back, as an actor, usually right before you get on stage, normally you're very nervous, and then once you're on stage, if you know what you're doing, then you're fine. And there's a few times with Elizabeth Ashley, she'd lose her lines, and then I would kind of try to give them back to her, and she thought it was really cute because I was so young. So it was fun. No, I wasn't nervous. Like I said, it's usually beforehand, and it was that thing, if you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail kind of thing. Yeah. So I always felt prepared enough that if you feel you've got your lines down and you've rehearsed enough and you trust your other actors, then it's a party. It's so much fun. You just never know what's going to happen on stage. Right. So, I enjoyed it, and when it eventually closed, it was sad because we worked really hard.
Mm-hmm. But then, you of course got National Lampoon's Vacation. And the interesting thing about that movie, it's an actual road trip movie. I mean, you guys were actually going to these locations and stuff. It's not just like it was shot on a set.
No, it's Colorado, Arizona, Utah, California, a lot of, at least 4 different states. So it was great because I still have memories of, hanging out with Christy and her boyfriend at the time. And we go do stuff off. I was looking at some old pictures of us water skiing and horseback riding and restaurants. And no, it was a real, obviously we were working all day long, but it was an extra fun, special time for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's what also will create the magic of the movie.
Right. And I mean, and you know, all that kind of that genuine feel of the travel, it conveys well over the course of the movie as you're watching it, and that's why so many people, I think, relate with it.
I believe so. I mean, obviously, it went overboard with certain.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it had to do some slapstick stuff, and I'll tell you about that movie is like, you know, they did a remake later on, and you know, that I think went way overboard into like kind of gross out moments. The original National Lampoon's Vacation kept it relatable while giving those, you know, over the top laughs.
Well, I thank you, because I didn't see the New Line remake, because it breaks my heart. I just, you know, I know, I think Beverly and Chevy, from what I understand, did a cameo. But, yeah, it just doesn't make sense why they couldn't use, obviously, Mike and I to carry on the legacy.
Right.
So it's just, like I said, I didn't see it, so I don't know much about it. And I don't know if it did big numbers. I have no idea. I
really don't know either. I reluctantly watched it when it kind of came on TV. I certainly didn't go to the theater. Yeah. I'm like that a lot with remakes. You know, when the original is so good, you know, why bother revisiting it in a completely different way? But that's how I feel about a lot of remakes and things. It's, you know, if it's a success, why mess with it?
Thank you. Yeah, I have the same thing. Obviously, everyone also has their idea of the next vacation. There's obviously a lot of different vacations that happened.
Yeah, right.
But I feel like that I have my ideas too, and I'll keep them to myself now about what would really be fun, a next, you know, generation or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that I don't know why they decided to do it. It was very odd, personally.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how to make a big buck, and I feel that with New Line, I don't know if they went overboard. I know we kind of sometimes went a little overboard. The things that we did in that movie, I don't know if you could do today. I mean, there's some things that I'm not sure. But I don't know what New Line did, and if they crossed the line, I have no idea.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I look at like some of these newer movies with like just cheap gross out moments and things like that. It's not really funny. It's just going for the shock value. What do you think of like the original movie, your movie, might be a little edgy today that maybe they wouldn't do?
Well, obviously there's a lot of kind of racial things, you know, people stealing the hubcaps and honky lips and
right.
Little things like that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And obviously I seen smoking pot. I guess it's legal now here in California.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not as bad, but when it came out, it's like you have a young teen smoking pot and the cousin farms pot, basically. Yeah. And it's, you know, you can get away with that now. I mean, obviously because of the different laws.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, look how low the film is. Like each decade, I'm kind of counting.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. But it's a rated R film, and people forget.
Right.
They think it's a family movie, but it really isn't. You have Beverly did a nude shot.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to get Christy to do a nude shot, but she actually wore a very brown, like a tan bathing suit in the water, so you can kind of see it now and then if you're really looking.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that have really looked too.
Yeah, and she has to quote. She goes, "I've made a lot of money. People wondering what's under this bathing suit, and I don't have to show it. You know, it's so cute.
Uh-huh.
It's true. Even to this day, in her 70s.
Well, yes, so, absolutely.
And she was in the Goldbergs, I heard too.
Oh yeah, she's on Dancing with the Stars now, I think, or she was gonna be. She got injured.
Yeah, she got injured. Her daughter took over.
Right.
Yeah, she slipped or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't watch that show, but I read up on it and stuff like that. And yeah.
Same with me. Yeah, I just heard about it, and yeah, she looks amazing. But she had a slip up there, I guess, on Dancing with the Stars, and I guess her daughter is taking over for her. So that's the latest on Christy Brinkley.
Yeah, I didn't know her daughter's in it. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just going back a little bit, we're talking Vacation and stuff. While you were filming that movie, Did you could you kind of get a feel that like this was really some funny stuff and that it was gonna do really well? No?
I had no idea. Literally, I was so in the moment. I just lived each scene, and even when Aunt Edna dies, and I took everything very, very literally. I mean, I was really living it. So I don't know when you have a bad vacation if you go, this could be a movie, or nowadays you probably can because everything's taped on or whatever.
Right.
But you're living it. It's just you just live it, and it's maybe funny to other people, maybe hopefully to later. But while you're living it isn't funny. Being on vacation with your family and your brother annoying you for the whole trip isn't funny, but it's funny when you look back on it.
Yeah, exactly. And there were so many even the bit parts in that movie. The cop and with the dog and everything, and then the guy eating watermelon at the tent rent a place. I mean, just the casting was just fantastic. I mean, even the bit parts.
Brian Doyle Murray. Sorry, interrupt you. Brian Doyle Murray played the guy with the watermelon, which is Eddie Bill Murray's brother.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh. And then obviously you have Stacy Keach, James Keach's brother, played the cop. So just great people. And Eddie Bracken, who recently passed away, played Roy Wally, and he was a wonderful actor in New York. And Imogene Coca, my gosh, she's a legend.
Absolutely.
And obviously, shoot, now I'm forgetting his name. No, he's the best. He's the man who played the security guard. Why am I forgetting him? John Candy. Oh my gosh.
John Candy, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's someone I didn't know when he came on second, on the set, and he was Second City, and Michael's like, "It's John Candy from Second City." I'm like, who? And he was much more up on it. But I soon learned the legend the mastery of his character. It's a lot of great people show up in that film, and there's a woman, Sarah Holcomb. She plays. I'm sorry, no, she was Brian Doyle Murray's girlfriend, but she played in Animal House. Oh, that's funny. I realized she was in it, but she was. See, all these people hung out all summer long. You have all these celebrities.
Yeah.
And, it was just it, and I was so young. It was just a great time, and from now, what I understand is that there were people doing drugs here and there, not when they were filming, but, afterward. And I'm just like, now I go, really? Like when they showed me the box of pot, I didn't know if that was pot or not. They said it was weed in the grass. And I went, oh, okay. I literally, to this day, I think it was really a box of pot.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I guess maybe you could do a close-up shot on it and kind of blow it up to see if it really was real. Probably. Of course they did, but I don't know if it was anybody's or not. Stuff like that. To this day, I've never been high. I've never been drunk. It's like that stuff is not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was everybody else's thing. So I was so naive about what was actually happening or not happening sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you were pretty young on set there with a lot of these experienced people doing, been around Hollywood a little bit. So
yeah, I even remember Michael Hall came back one day and say, "Hey, I just went to a party with Drew Barrymore," and at the time she was a little kid and she was drunk, and it's like, oh, but she talks about that when she was younger, she was drinking.
Yeah, right.
Now, I think to overcome that, but point is things like that. Yeah, you're in that circle. I guess you just end up, when you're back in California, things are on the road, and it's just different when you're on the road versus being in LA, I guess, and going to parties with celebrities.
Yeah, absolutely. And you as a child star, I guess, how did you avoid some of those pitfalls that some fall into?
Well, to be honest, when you say child star, I never really was. I was what I consider a working actor, and that's all that you care about is you get the next commercial or the next job. And back then, you didn't have social media. So if you were a star, I wasn't really. It wasn't a huge, it was kind of a slow hit. It wasn't a huge shebang hit. Went back to school, went to college. I graduated from NYU. And I got 2 degrees in 2 different colleges, a business school at NYU, and then educational degree in Santa Monica College. I just had to stay normal.
Yeah.
I think I concentrated on education. And I also bought a restaurant in my 20s and helped run a restaurant. I was very also into business. So, and I also did a restaurant here 2 years ago in California. I had real estate. All this stuff, just keep your focus on other things other than getting bored and being stupid.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of actors, you know, whether they start very young or not. I mean, they just focus on Hollywood, and if they're not getting, I mean, jobs are, you know, very sporadic in Hollywood, and you know, you don't know really. But I mean, it's definitely a smart move to have some fallback plans and other opportunities available to you, because when you don't, you're really just asking for trouble.
Well, that's a very good point, because think about, I always hear of sports figures. Their parents kept them busy, and they kept busy, so they kept out of the drugs. You know, and I think there's something to be, hopefully if your parents are stable and they focus you in the right way, knock on wood with my kid, who's singing in Lincoln Center in, May, which is really crazy fun.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Just keep them busy, keep them happy and occupied that way, and feeling worth and like they have something to work towards. So you don't, like I said, you don't get bored, you don't get distracted and make some stupid choices.
Right, exactly. That's very important for people to hear that are you know, maybe just starting out in show business and things. It's an important message right there. So you know, just going back to the movie a little bit here, I wanted to talk about the soundtrack. Great soundtrack, National Lampoon's Vacation. The scene where you guys are in the back seat and you put on the headphones and, you know, then they play the Ramones song. Did you know at the time that it was going to be the Ramones you guys were hearing? You know what? It was Beat on the Brat and all that stuff. Yeah. And what's fun is like one of the Ramones came to, or a Ramone that eventually joined the Ramones, but not the original guys. It's a guy who never really was in the Ramones, but saying he was. But he was, but he wasn't. He was in one of the Comic-Cons. And I was like, hey, we did, you know, and he's like, huh? He had no clue. I was like, no. But, you know, Lindsey Buckingham was huge when he did Holiday Road. And I have a little truckster I sell on my website, which is baron.net, a little plug there. Mm-hmm. And I have it, it's like a Christmas tree ornament, or you can put it on a hiking stick, which I do. And Lindsey Buckingham sings the song, and on the truckster it plays the music because people love that song. Yeah. You know, we could sing it, you know, I just press it and everyone breaks into song. That's very cool. Online when the Comic-Con, that's what I was saying. Uh-huh. So, yes, but, you know, Lindsey Buckingham, as a little kid, he's so cute, you know, that kind of thing. And obviously, he was a big star back then. So to answer your question about the Ramones and stuff, it was a cool song, but I think I was more enamored with Lindsey Buckingham. Gotcha. Yeah, it's that song. I mean, when you hear that, you immediately picture the movie Vacation for sure. Yeah. Let me ask you if there were any scenes that you remember doing vividly that, you know, it took maybe a few takes because you guys were laughing just so hard. Anything like that you remember? Well, in the car we're always joking around. What's funny is that on my website, again, I sell my original script that I had because there's so many things we went off and did, you know, like improvs basically. And Harold was so amazing too, our director, Harold Ramis. Mm-hmm. He you know, basically rewrote a lot of the script with Chevy. So yeah, we were always having fun and things. And you can actually, if you follow the script, you can say, oh, this is where you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. But we, you know, back in the day, gosh, I'm feeling old now. You didn't have the luxury of filming as long as you want. You know, now you had to film quickly. Yeah. So there wasn't as much, you know, silliness that can go on without right repercussions from the producers. Because I remember one time we were in whatchamacallit. So I got distracted. Someone doing construction across the street from where I am. We were in the place Wyatt Earp, and the scene where there was, you know, we were like, she's Death Clark, and
the banging of, we were in some sort of Western scene.
Yeah.
And I can't remember details where it was. But anyway, there was a scene where they, the guy behind the bar shoots, and then the guy who does all the Ziggy, whatever his, I can't remember his full name, but all these nicknames, he throws a dummy down, and it distracts, like someone died when he shot the gun thing.
Yeah, right.
And then he falls. So that's the kind of silly things people did. It was just really, really wonderful kind of family feeling in that way, even with the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were on vacation too. They were, they're all on the road trip with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Some scenes of yours that, stand out. I mean, your reaction to Jane Krakowski when you guys are on the Teeter Totter there. I mean, your reaction to her.
Totter. You know, yes, that's so cute, Teeter Totter. Yes, but I realized, I talked to a friend about this the other day, that I told you, innocent, I had no clue. I kind of knew something was a little off, but I had no clue what they meant, what she meant, really. Kind of like, oh, okay, like the whole circle of what that meant.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of did, because that's why it was so, like I said, we kind of lived each moment, because it was really real. I'm looking here going, wait, what, huh? I know something's wrong, what? So it's really a real reaction, because I'm not, like I said, I had no clue.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it came off great, and it played well in the film for sure. That scene. Yeah,
and Jane Krakowski plays my cousin. Oh my gosh! I mean, now talk about a career that has boomed. I mean, singing on Broadway all the time, and Ally Steele, and all these different stuff that she does all the time with that Third Rock, or what's it called?
Oh, 30 Rock, I think.
30 Rock, thank you.
Yeah.
So, and I have her number still, and I've left messages, hey, what's going on, that kind of thing. It's fun.
And how about Randy Quaid? I mean, do you still at all see him or hear from him?
Well, I don't know if you knew I did a movie of the week kind of thing, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure.
Yes, I did. I did know about that, yeah.
Yeah, and so I did get to work with him, and yes, I mean, he's such a sweet guy. He used to say misguided by a certain person in his life, and it kind of were throwing him off track a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But nice guy, and it was difficult to do that movie with him, because certain things were happening that just weren't right in filming and being right for the producers. I don't want to go into details, because it's just not a good thing.
I got you.
But nice guy, it's a shame certain things have happened.
Yeah. So after that movie, the success and everything of that first Vacation movie, I know they had to redo the ending because I guess it didn't test well with audiences. So how long, you said it earlier, a few months you said you had to go back and...
about 4 months later around winter, we filmed in the summer, and then we had to, if you look all through the thing, not only did Anthony Michael Hall grow, but I was just looking the other day at pictures. I look white as a ghost, but by different parts of the film, obviously we don't film all in order, I'm very tan. But then I come back for the new ending, I am literally white.
Wow.
And also, here's the other tidbit. First time I really, at 16, discovered good food. Because my mom, growing up, she wasn't much of a cook, shall we say. So I ate a lot of canned vegetables. So this is what carrots are supposed to taste like. So I ate a lot. So by the end of the movie, I had gained. I went from 80-something pounds to late 90s. So high 90s, shall we say. So I gained quite nice chub. And so by the time I got back, it's these subtle things. I'm not as chubby. I'm pale. Same height. I reached my height at 16, as girls generally do.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael, like I said, was towering over all of us.
Yeah.
And then had a lot more to grow in time. Like I said, now he's 6'4".
Yeah. I mean, it's funny when you look back at it and you see yourself in this way, differences and things like that. I mean, I don't know that a lot of fans would notice, but it's how you watch yourself back, I guess.
Yeah, no. I do. I definitely will. Each time I watch it, I think of something different. Also, as you get older, your perspectives change, and your ideas of what obviously is good or bad or right or wrong, whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
So you look at it, and it's memories about the cast. It's memories about, it's a whole different experience. And I go, wow, that's still funny. Wow, that still works. This movie still works.
Mm-hmm.
And also I'm showing it to my kid, And I took a long time. It's like, is he old enough to watch this? Is he ready for it?
Yeah.
And now he hears cursing all the time. Maybe he doesn't curse himself much that I know of it. But he literally, it's like, is it okay? Because the scene in the car when Chevy goes overboard and he'll be whistling, zippity doo out of your butthole, shall we say?
Right.
It's like, my kid can hear certain words now without blinking at this point in this society.
Yeah.
So things have changed in society. Like, pot is legal and cursing is pretty much not as bad as it used to be, I guess.
Perhaps, yeah.
I know in London it is. It's like common vernacular there. It's really easy.
Yeah.
To be said.
So, I mean, did your son love the movie? Did he really enjoy it?
I think he did, but I think he's still too young to really appreciate.
Yeah, all the nuances, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think when he gets older, he'll get it. Like I said, like I change and I go, oh.
Right.
Like when I was a kid, I was like, didn't get it, and now I go, oh wow, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just little things about cousin Eddie's family and things that having like when she can quit her night job, or when she now that she's pregnant or something.
Yeah.
like little touches, almost like a painter, Jackson Pollock, splatters his paint everywhere, little dots everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's what this movie is, like little master dots everywhere,
right.
Things like that.
Yeah, I mean, the more times you watch it, I mean, the more things you notice and pick up on, and I mean, that's why it's got great replayability. I mean, it's definitely my favorite of the vacation movies.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, like as far as the sequels and things, I heard somewhere that Anthony Michael got Weird Science, and that's kind of what why they changed the kids out in the sequels.
Yeah, Amy Heckerling was the director of the second one. I think it was European Vacation.
Yeah.
Was number 2. Christmas was number 3. I literally have not seen them because I've been sort of on strike because I was supposed to go away and I was waiting. I was told by the producer that I was going to do this, and then waited and like, when are we going? Never got the phone call. And Amy Heckerling, who is, like I said, the new director, and Michael was set to do Weird Science during the same time Vacation, the second Vacation, European, was going to shoot.
Right.
So I couldn't. Amy said, well, let's get 2 new kids, and the producer went, okay. So it was a big mistake, and he admitted to be a big mistake later on. We're still friends, Maddie Simmons. I actually ended up working for him. I was an executive at National Lampoon not too long ago. So it was sad for me, very sad to this day, very sad still.
Yeah.
And, Michael loved doing Weird Science, and, you can't look back, as he says, you can't go backwards, but it's sad.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most fans, watch the movie and or watch the sequels, and it doesn't feel right. It's not the same family. It's a very bizarre situation, and it's unfortunate it turned out that way. But yeah, so you can't even bother really watching them. I don't blame you. I think I'd be the exact same way. That it seems very, very odd that your family from that movie now all of a sudden just has 2 kids with the same names, and I totally see where you're coming from. My
family went off and left me. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I've got to start packing because I am leaving tomorrow for this Comic-Con in Rhode Island. And like I said, I don't know if I mentioned on this cast, is that all 4 of us are getting together for the first time not the first time, third or fourth time we've gotten together since the movie, but first Comic-Con we've ever done. So I've got stuff all over the film I've got to put together in a suitcase.
I got
So,
you.
yeah.
So, I mean, I do want to thank you again for coming on the show here. This has been really cool talking with you. This is Dana Barron you've been listening to here on the RockStop. Yeah, I mean, let's do this again sometime. A little bit more to discuss next time.
Yeah, we didn't talk about 90210, or I won an Emmy Award with a show Martin Sheen produced, and my book, trying to get a fan book. Holiday Road, I'm not there yet. I'm trying to get it. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
That's my goal, is to get their vacation stories. Why did they relate to the movie? How much fun did they have?
Yeah.
Because you kind of opened up the doors that a bad vacation actually can be a good vacation when you look back on it.
Yeah, well, and I'll leave the link at danabarron.net in the description so you guys can keep up to date on what Dana's got coming up and things like that. So,
and thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time, and I've got to go pack now. Boo. Okay.
All right. Take care. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, you too.